Hello and welcome, everybody. Happy Saturday. I am Dusty Baker, and I'm here with you for your sports update on Saturday, July the 8th. And we've got a great day for you here. We do not have a newscast, by the way, at 6 o'clock, but we will at 11 o'clock tonight. And what you don't see here, you will be seeing, of course, later in the evening. But we've got a lot of sports going on in the sports world, so let's get right into it. First of all, Racing Louisville with a huge win. That was coming yesterday, of course, last night at home, and that was against none other than Kansas City, the Current. Now, Racing originally, it looked kind of rough for them early on. They allowed a goal early in the 7th minute. Then in the 13th minute, Abby Urchik, she had a chance to score a goal, but they ruled it that the ball actually went off her arm. And so they called her goal back. So it was a 1-0 game in favor of Kansas City. However, Racing showing that they have a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and specifically because the fact that maybe a key face, Nadia Nadim, has returned, that's enough to at least inspire the squad. She is a 35-year-old, a 17-year career, came back for the first time in 10 months. That was huge for her. She had an ACL injury when she played Portland a year ago. So big face to have on the squad, and they sure came back late in the ball game. How about this? It was Ellie Pica-Yamsa with a goal. She netted it to tie it at 1 apiece, and then in the 46th minute, Paige Monahan has been unbelievable, especially in the wake of losing Savannah DeMello to the World Cup. How about the way that Monahan has stepped up? She would score what would be the go-ahead and eventually the winning goal as well in the 46th minute. In Racing Louisville, they were able to hold on. They would win it 2-1. Next, they will host Chicago on Friday in the Challenge Cup. More importantly, though, as I mentioned, Nadia Nadim is the story here. I mean, the fact that she was able to come back through and battle through the adversity that she did. And of course, here she is today now, able to make it back to the pitch. This was a big deal for her, for the Racing squad as a whole. And she talked about the emotions of getting back out on the pitch once again.
Honestly, it's hard to describe the feeling. It's been hard. And yeah, finally being here, I spent a lot of hours in the gym on training field to be healthy again, and yeah, kind of emotional about it, and obviously really grateful for the opportunity again, and grateful for the help and the support that I've got from my teammates, the staff, everyone around Racing Louisville, the fans, and it's incredible.
I absolutely love it for her. So happy that she had the opportunity to return back to normal. And the fact of the matter is, she's actually had this opportunity now to get back in action at a time where Racing desperately needed her. And so happy to see her back in the spot she deserves to be in after such a long, successful career. We need to be sure to see her out on the pitch where she belongs. Now, speaking of the pitch, Lou City in action this evening. And we will have a full recap for you of this game that they have tonight. And it's against Loudoun United FC. First of all, Racing coming off a tie. This was a scoreless tie at Pittsburgh, the Riverhounds SC. That was a week ago. Their last win was just the previous match, which was a home match, and it was against Las Vegas, the Lights, 1-0. And so they're trying to at least get a 3-game undefeated streak going under their belts here. Lou City at the time, they are in 5th place in the USL Championship, and Loudoun is in 8th place at the moment. By the way, I've had a couple people ask me where exactly is Loudoun. It is in Leesburg, Virginia. This is where that squad is coming from. So should be a good match. It kicks off tonight at 8 o'clock p.m., and we will have the action for you with Lou City trying to get that victory back at home this evening. And we'll also have a recap for you tonight on Wave News at 11. You will be able to see that on Wave News. We'll also go over the Devontae Parker camp, which happened earlier today. So a lot to get to in that department. How about another thing to look forward to tonight at 8 o'clock p.m.? That would be Oscar Tshiebwe. He's making his appearance in the NBA Summer League action, and it'll be the first time you see him play for the Indiana Pacers, which is going to be a really special opportunity. Of course, Tshiebwe, one of the best players in the country, the Naismith Award winner, was not drafted, was not even quickly signed as well. It's a little surprising that it took so long for us to be able to see Tshiebwe find his home, but here he is now with an opportunity not very far north either. We're going to be able to see him play in what should be a really good one. You're also going to be able to see Gonzaga's Andrew Nembhard have a chance to make his debut as well with the Indiana Pacers. This is all happening in Las Vegas. They will take on the Washington Wizards in Vegas tonight at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Now, I also want to get to one more thing before we get you at the 11 o'clock news hour. The Reds and the Brewers in a huge series this weekend. The Reds fell on Friday night 7-3 to the Brewers. So now the Reds with only a 1-game lead in the NL Central. This is a huge series because imagine if Milwaukee wins today. All of a sudden, they're tied in first place, the division on the line technically tomorrow as well. And then you have the All-Star break. So imagine the Reds, and Kendrick and I kind of talked about this a little yesterday, going into the All-Star break with a first-place lead. That is massive. That's a confidence builder, especially considering nobody kind of expected this. With the Brewers having that lead, it just kind of takes a little bit of that momentum away. So today, the matchup that we have at the moment as we enter the middle of the first inning, it's Luke Weaver on the hill for the Reds. He has not been particularly great. We saw him a little bit in Louisville. He's got a 6.72 ERA. For those of you at home, that is not a very pretty ERA. But the guy opposing him has not been particularly great either. Colin Rea, 4.40 ERA. So those two going head-to-head right now. It's a scoreless ball game. We're headed to the middle of the first inning, and we'll have a recap for that as well tonight at 11 o'clock on Wave News. The other thing to keep in mind, it's more Reds news as well. It kind of came on us quickly, but Sunday is the day of the MLB draft. And the Reds, while they've been good this year, remember, their draft pick comes from what happened last year. So they have the 7th pick overall. I'm going to quickly go through for you who might be headed to Cincinnati. We don't expect it to be any of the LSU studs, which would be either Dylan Cruz or Paul Skeens. They could be going 1 and 2 respectively. Either way, honestly, I think it could go either way. You're probably going to see Cruz go number 1, but he is asking for a lot of money. Either way, Reds fans shouldn't have to worry about that. We did not expect Cruz to fall that much, and neither do we expect with Skeens. Wyatt Langford is a stud power hitter for the Florida squad as well for the Gators. He's expected to go roughly 3 or 4 in the draft. Max Clark is an Indiana prodigy, high school prodigy, should be a superstar. At least he's shaping up to be. Some people kind of calling him the next Bryce Harper. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he will be falling to the Reds unless, of course, the finances push him down. A lot of times in the MLB draft, you will see that players will drop because they're asking for more money than the draft slot allotted asks for. So that's really the only chance you see a guy like maybe Cruz or even also Max Clark dropping, but don't expect him to drop much past 5, I would say. Jacob Gonzalez, a shortstop out of Ole Miss, probably going to be within reach, but really I expect him to be picked earlier. And even if he does fall to the Reds number, the Reds have so many infielders at the moment that it feels like, while people say draft according to not necessarily need, but the best available, I would expect the Reds go a different direction. And that kind of goes with Kyle Teel here as a possible different direction. Catcher out of Virginia, really talented as well, offensively and defensively. You never know with Tyler Stevenson moving forward what that looks like. Health-wise has been a concern. Teel could easily be a target. Now, he is projected by many, including Bleacher Report, which is who I'm kind of using and basing these numbers off of. He's projected to go 6th, so the Reds would miss him by 1. So if they can't go and get Teel, a couple other options that are kind of intriguing. We've seen Walker Jenkins reportedly rumored to go to the Reds. He's an outfield high school player. Could be potential. There's a lot of potential involved in that bat as well, but I kind of see them going a different direction. The Reds really are hurting for pitching at the moment. Number one, I would still love to see them make a play for Shohei Ohtani at the deadline. If they do that, they may have to part ways with a guy like Connor Phillips, who's just called up to Louisville as well, who leads the minor leagues in strikeouts. You may see his name go. So they do need pitching in the farm system. I'm thinking Rhett Lauder is a star pitcher from Wake Forest, helped lead them deep in the College World Series. Could possibly be a nice, safe, controllable pick as well. I kind of like the move for the Reds. So you might hear Lauder's name called with pick number 7. Another one that would be of interest, at least, would be Hurston Waldrop. Same concept for Florida. A nice right-handed pitcher out of that Gator system. They had a lot of great pitching. He was a stud in their system, and he would be a great fit. I also kind of still love Chase Dollander, who some people are a little more down on now than they were previously. Some people had him picked as high as top 5. So I think there's a lot of potential. Dollander throws absolute gas. You might see the Reds go for him as well. He's a little more risky of a pick, but even then, I still kind of like what I see from him. And then finally, Jacob Wilson, the shortstop out of Grand Canyon. If they do jump for an infielder, I kind of feel like this is a safer pick. He has been a stud as well. A score update for you as well. The Brewers, they currently have a 1-0 lead. That comes from a Willy Adames home run, his 15th of the year. That went to left center field. So not the start necessarily the Reds wanted here, as they don't quite go 1-2-3. It was started out with a TJ Friedel ground out. Matt McLean struck out. Jonathan India did get on base to single, but then Elly De La Cruz grounded into a force out. Still a lot of ball game there. And as I mentioned, we'll have a recap from this tonight at 11. Until then, though, that is your sports update here right from the Wave News Studios. And we're just happy to be able to be here alongside you guys. If you get the chance, the opportunity, if you're on Twitter, please follow us at Wave News Sports. Once again, that's at Wave News Sports. Once again, I am Dusty Baker. I will be here with you for the next week. Our friend Kendrick Haskins is getting a much-deserved vacation as well, and we are not going to bother him at this time with that as well. So with that in mind, please tweet at us, message us, whatever it may be. If you have any questions, any topics you want us to discuss on this podcast, we would love to be able to have that interaction with you guys. And, this is your sports department. We are here for you, so take advantage of it. Please reach out to us. We'd love to help you out and give you the sports insight that you need moving forward. Until then, though, that is your update. Right here, it is 4:22, about to be 4:23 p.m. I'm Dusty Baker, and we'll talk again soon.